Tour boats move every day. Guides repeat the same safety lines. People lean over the railing, phones ready, expecting scenery. This one wasn't searching for anything unusual. It was just another scheduled river tour. Mid-route, engines steady, water calm. Then, something enters the frame. Not dramatic, not announced, just there, where nothing should be. Conversations stop. The guide hesitates. The current keeps flowing, but the atmosphere shifts. Whatever was filmed that afternoon wasn't part of the tour, and no one on board had a name for it. Piranhas near the shore. On this stretch of the Amazon, the water looks calm. People step in slowly, thinking the danger lives farther out. In the darker current, from a distance, piranhas seem small, almost insignificant. But when the river level drops and food thins out, something shifts. They stop moving as scattered fish. They tighten. The surface begins to tremble, not violently, just enough to feel wrong. Witnesses describe it the same way. A splash, a sudden churn, then the water turns opaque with movement. It isn't one bite. It's many, landing at once, so fast the body barely reacts before balance is gone. Most incidents don't happen in deep channels. They happen here, near the edge, where feet sink into warm mud and people assume they still have control. The footage doesn't exaggerate. It simply shows how quickly a quiet shoreline can change. Anomaly, daylight river. The water is moving normally, reflecting the sky, when something dark rises just enough to interrupt the surface. At first, it blends in, like debris drifting with the current. Then it shifts direction. Whoever is filming zooms in, trying to focus. The shape holds steady against the flow, which already feels unusual. It looks aquatic, but the outline doesn't fully agree. The body suggests one thing. The front suggests another. There's a moment where the movement slows, almost controlled, as if aware of being watched. The camera begins to tremble. No one speaks. No commentary, no shouting. Just breathing, and the low sound of water pressing against the bank. Then the surface folds back over it. The river resumes its pattern. Later, people argue about angles, distortion, light. But the figure was there, briefly, in the open. Electric eel in shallow water. In these rivers, the danger doesn't thrash or circle. It stays still, buried in silt, almost invisible against the brown current. The electric eel doesn't bite. It releases a charge. Most people step into water like this without thinking. It barely reaches the knees. It feels manageable. Then a discharge travels through the surface and into the body. Muscles contract instantly. Not from pain first, but from loss of control. There's no dramatic struggle. The arms don't coordinate. The legs stop responding. In shallow water, that brief paralysis is enough to tip someone forward, face down, unable to push back up. Researchers have recorded eels rising vertically, pressing their bodies against a perceived threat to intensify the shock. It isn't random. It's reactive, direct. What unsettles people later isn't the size of the animal. It's how quickly movement, breath, and balance can disappear. Giant river stingray in shallow current. In this part of the river, the bottom looks smooth. Mud, sand, nothing that draws attention. That's where it stays. The giant river stingray doesn't circle or approach. It settles in and disappears beneath the surface. People step forward, assuming the water is clear enough to read. Then a foot presses down in the wrong place. The movement is almost too fast to register. The tail lifts in a single motion. A barbed spine drives upward with force and drops back just as quickly. Most victims say they never saw the animal itself, only the impact. A sharp strike, followed by heat, spreading through the leg. Balance goes first. The current does the rest. The footage slows it down, but in real time, it's a fraction of a second. No signal, no visible warning, just a hidden body beneath the mud. Bull shark far inland. Most people associate sharks with open ocean, salt water, waves, not rivers that cut through towns. But the bull shark doesn't stay offshore. It moves upriver, through brown water, where visibility drops to nothing. That's what changes the feeling. In clear sea, you might see a shadow forming. Here, the surface looks empty. Boats idle near docks, swimmers wade out from the bank. The current hides everything beneath it. Unlike most sharks, this one tolerates fresh water. It adjusts and keeps going, sometimes miles inland. It doesn't need depth to approach. It doesn't need open space to circle. Reports describe attacks happening close to shore, in places where no one expects a marine predator to be present at all. The strike is sudden. Then the water closes again. What unsettles communities later isn't just the aggression, it's the idea that something built for the ocean can move quietly among them. Chena River, Alaska. The surface looks solid, white, stable. Beneath it, the water should be slow this time of year, pressed under layers of ice. That's why the movement stands out. In the recorded footage, a dark mass shifts under the frozen surface, long, undulating, not darting like a fish, not gliding like debris. It moves with weight, as if displacing more water than expected. The ice doesn't fracture. It bends slightly, flexing in a way that feels wrong to the eye. Whoever logged the clip didn't discard it. The sequence was reviewed carefully, frame by frame. Some specialists later suggested refraction, overlapping currents, known species distorted by ice thickness. Others pointed out the rhythm of the motion doesn't clearly match documented wildlife in that river. Online, it earned a name, the ice monster. Years passed. The original footage remains. No confirmed identification followed. Han River, Seoul. It starts as something easy to ignore, a dark form drifting near the surface, blending with reflections and floating debris. The fisherman filming doesn't react at first. Rivers carry strange things all the time. Then the shape changes direction. It isn't just drifting with the current. It's adjusting, angling slowly toward the shore. The movement is steady. No splashing. No sudden thrashing. Just a long, black mass, maintaining its line. From where he's standing, the scale feels off. Larger than the fish people expect in this river. Larger than anything commonly reported there. He keeps the camera trained on it as it closes the distance, neither accelerating nor stopping. Within hours, the clip circulates online. People freeze frames, measure proportions against the riverbank, compare it to known species. No agency issues a clear identification. The water keeps flowing. The footage remains. Yangtze River, gray afternoon. The water looks heavy, almost metallic under the sky. Then a line appears beneath the surface. At first, it seems like driftwood or something caught in the current. But it keeps extending. The shape glides forward, bending in one smooth motion, like a single spine moving through the river. There are no visible fins breaking the surface, no clear head to orient it, just length. Witnesses along the bank try to estimate its size. It stretches farther than expected, beyond the frame of most recordings. Someone nearby murmurs a name, the Three Gorges monster. It spreads quickly after that. Others later suggest rope, debris, construction material carried downstream. But the movement feels controlled, fluid, not tangled, not erratic. The Yangtze is wide, deep, and not fully charted in every stretch. Official explanations follow. Still, the image lingers, a long form sliding quietly through open water. Blue water near the embankment. The camera points downward, steady, almost hesitant. Suspended particles drift past the lens. Then the silhouette comes into view. At first, it reads as human, a torso upright, arms close to the sides. It isn't moving. Below the waist, the outline shifts. The form narrows and extends, tapering into something that doesn't match legs. It resembles a tail, though the water distorts edges just enough to make everything uncertain. No one speaks behind the camera. There's no gasp, no commentary, just the quiet hum of water, and that shape holding its position near the structure. Some viewers later suggest a submerged statue, placed deliberately and forgotten. Others argue light, angle, refraction, bending the image into something familiar. But the question lingers longer than the clip itself. If it were only an illusion, why does it look like it's standing there? Amazon River, mid-channel. The kayak moves at an even pace. The paddler isn't rushing. The water looks open, wide, almost calm, except for the small ripples from each stroke. Nothing suggests tension. Then the surface explodes beside him. A heavy splash rises without warning, pushing water outward with force. There's no visible body breaking through. No fin, no tail. Just displacement, as if something large shifted directly beneath the hull. He stops rowing. For a second, the kayak drifts. Another surge disturbs the water nearby, strong enough to rock the frame. Still, nothing identifiable appears above the surface. No shadow long enough to track. No shape to follow. Instead of investigating, he eases the paddle backward and begins to retreat, slow at first, then more decisively. Later, people replay the clip looking for outlines in the churn. None are clear. Only the water reacting to something unseen below. Amazon River, open stretch. From the bank, the surface looks steady, reflecting patches of sky between trees. Then a bulge forms midstream, not a splash, not a leap, just water lifting from below, as if something large shifted direction. The waves begin to roll outward in a wide arc, heavy, slow, too deliberate to dismiss as random current. The camera tracks the disturbance, trying to catch a glimpse of what's beneath. Nothing breaks the surface. No dorsal line, no tail. Just a wake pushing forward, carving a path through otherwise calm water. It keeps moving, maintaining speed, as though a body is traveling just inches below visibility. Whoever is filming adjusts position, zooms slightly, waits for a reveal. It never comes. The river smooths itself again, leaving only widening ripples fading into the current. What passed through remains under it. Riverbank figure at dusk. A group of tourists stands near the edge, casually filming the scenery. The water moves behind them, steady and ordinary. Then, someone shifts the camera toward the opposite bank. A tall shape is visible near the trees. It stands upright, separated from the brush just enough to be noticed. The neck appears elongated, angled toward low branches as if reaching. It doesn't sway with the wind. It doesn't step forward. It just remains there. The contrast against the river makes the outline clearer than expected. Too vertical for most animals in that region, too still for something alive. Some argue the clip spreads quickly online, and then the original upload disappears. No confirmed source, no verified location, only fragments reposted and debated. Mid-river movement. The camera locks onto a darker stretch of water where something broad is passing beneath the surface. It isn't fast. It doesn't dart. It moves with weight, pushing a low swell ahead of it. At first, people nearby mention an arapaima. The region is known for them. Large bodies, slow rises, heavy turns. That explanation settles in for a moment. Then the scale begins to feel off. The wake appears wider than expected. The mass beneath seems thicker, less defined, as if more than a single fish were moving in one shape. The person filming doesn't zoom further. They just hold the frame, waiting for a clearer outline. Nothing breaks through. No dorsal ridge, no open mouth, just a steady displacement traveling forward before slipping deeper into darker water. The clip ends there. No closer angle, no confirmation afterward, only the lingering sense that whatever passed beneath didn't fully match the first guess. Mangrove Channel. Early survey. Local biologists were asked to check why wildlife had thinned out almost overnight. No birds calling, no crocodiles along the banks. Just a quiet stretch of water threading through roots. Their boat enters a narrow channel, engine low. That's when something rises beside the hull. It doesn't breach fully, just enough to reveal scale. A curved back, ridged with stiff spines running along it. The surface looks thick, textured, almost like wet leather, flexing as it displaces water. No splash, no sudden aggression. For a few seconds, it stays level with them, close enough that the hull rocks gently. The equipment on board flickers. One phone screen freezes. A compass needle spins, without settling. No one reaches toward it. The mass lingers, then sinks straight down, as if gravity reclaimed it. The water closes, without turbulence. Later, someone reviewing the footage repeats the same line. It didn't feel like feeding. It felt like being assessed. Chena River, near the border, a small private team had been scanning the area for irregular heat signatures. The stretch was marked uninhabited. Mud along the banks, low fog sitting over still water. No structures nearby. Their CO2 monitor registers an increase. Not from decay, from breathing. Slow, heavy, but nothing on the surface moves. They cast a net toward the anomaly. The water erupts in a sudden pull. What comes up doesn't resemble local fauna. The body is thick, muscular, coated in dark film. Limbs extend outward, longer than expected, jointed in a way that feels off for the region's wildlife. It thrashes briefly against the mesh. The mouth opens without a defined snout. No clear eyes visible, just a cavity flexing as sound pushes through it. High, strained, almost human in tone. Equipment begins to fail. Screens freeze mid-record. The clip cuts abruptly. What remains is only the attempt. Silent stretch of river. The boat drifts without engine noise, just the soft push of current against the hull. No one is speaking loudly. It feels like one of those slow moments where nothing is supposed to happen. Then something moves upstream, not cutting across, not drifting, moving against the current without disturbing it. The shape resembles a crocodile at first glance, but the length feels exaggerated. The body seems extended, heavier, as if stretched beyond proportion. Along its back, pale bony spines rise in a straight line, evenly spaced. They barely tremble as it passes, close enough that scale becomes undeniable. It doesn't submerge. It doesn't veer away from the boat. One phone screen goes dark, then another. The remaining camera keeps rolling as the creature glides forward. In the final seconds, a faint, pale trail lingers behind it before dissolving. No splash, no aggression, just movement that feels deliberate. Muddy River, early 2000s footage. The clip looks dated, grainy. A slow machine crawls across a brown river, pushing through shallow water. Nothing unusual at first, just engine noise and mud shifting beneath heavy tires. Then, something launches. It comes from beneath the surface in a single motion, arcing upward and striking a trailing wheel. The movement is quick, elastic, almost serpentine. There's no hesitation in the leap. For a fraction of a second, the body is visible, long, curved, not clearly fish, not clearly reptile. It bends midair before disappearing from view as quickly as it appeared. The operator doesn't react immediately, as if unsure what just happened. The water closes again, returning to the same muddy churn. Viewers later slow the footage down, frame by frame. Some see a large eel. Others describe something more unusual in the posture of the jump. The clip ends without context. Only that sudden impact remains. Shallow river, late afternoon. A man stands on the bank, filming what he thinks is driftwood or a trick of light. Then he adjusts the angle. In the middle of the water, something small is upright. At first, it feels unreal. The proportions look humanoid. Thin frame, long arms hanging low. It isn't splashing or struggling against the current. It stands there calmly. The figure makes small, deliberate movements, dipping a hand toward the surface, as if testing it. The posture resembles someone fishing, patient and unhurried. There's no frantic reaction to being observed. Online, people compare it to fantasy creatures. Elf-like, stylized. But the setting is ordinary. No filters, no added sound, just river noise and distant wind. The figure continues its slow motions until the clip ends. It never turns fully toward the camera. What unsettles viewers later isn't how it looks. It's how naturally it seems to exist there.
¿Con qué cuerda? No se mueva. No haga ruido. ¿Lo está viendo? ¿Lo está viendo? Sí.
3 seconds of river. The recording is already in progress when it begins. No buildup, no sudden movement. Just a still stretch of water and a fixed frame. Near the edge of the river, a shape is visible. It doesn't shift position. It doesn't ripple the surface. It doesn't signal anything dramatic. The person holding the camera doesn't gasp or step back. There's no commentary layered over the moment, just ambient quiet and the faint texture of water behind it. The outline remains in the same place from the first second to the last. Not approaching, not retreating, simply present. Then the clip ends exactly where it started. No follow-up footage appears. No alternate angle. No official clarification. Just those 3 seconds circulating online. Replayed and slowed down. Amazon River Tour, mid-journey. The drone is already in the air when it happens. A white riverboat moves steadily through brown water, packed with tourists leaning against the rails, jungle on both sides, nothing unusual. Then the river breaks open. A massive shape erupts beside the vessel, rising higher than the upper deck. Water explodes outward in a circular surge. The creature's jaws are open, wide enough to swallow the railing whole. Its body is thick, scaled, almost reptilian, Forcing the current aside with sheer weight, people on the top deck are frozen in place. The boat hasn't had time to turn. The drone keeps filming from above as the animal's front half towers over the hull, suspended for a split second before gravity pulls it back. The water closes around it in violent waves. For a moment, the river looks empty again. But the wake behind the boat says something enormous was there.
It's coming right for us! Help us!